Welcome to No Cap Urban Media. I am your host, Darren, with our co-host,
Kyle, and this will be a podcast about music, history, pop culture, other podcasts, and anything current going on. And this will be a brand new podcast with me and Darren, and we're excited to see where this goes and how this...
Yeah, for sure. This has been a long time in the making.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
we've done other things.
I mean, months ago we had went to Helltown because we wanted to take this channel in the direction of like urban exploring and stuff, you know, and so we got a bunch of footage from there. But you know, we finally decided we wanted to take the channel in this direction, which is maybe a more smaller form content where we kind of just talk about certain topics and then divide them up, you know, just into just short videos all in the season.
Content.
Yeah, clip type. Yeah.
Dipping our toes into content, see where that takes us.
Yeah, exactly. We just want to discuss some topics and see what you guys think. So what do we have for today for our first topic?
So we have a new industry plant in the podcasting area. Okay. Her name's Bobby. She's recently had multiple podcasts with some of the biggest celebrities around. The biggest one to date is Drake, which is practically insane.
That one went viral.
Yeah, because there's like maybe a couple of podcasts with Drake. I saw one with Lil Yachty.
He's very. Yeah, I did. I saw parts of it. He's very choosy. Yes. He's very choosy about doing interviews, and of course, when you're like an artist of that, size, yeah, of course, you should be very cautious. So it was very weird, you know, when he goes on to this podcast, because she had only how many shows, right, before, or you know, how many different interviews?
She had like around 3 podcasts before Drake, but she also had a lot of content. I learned on TikTok she did a lot of mom content that got, I'm pretty sure, a lot of views. I think some in the millions, but it was a lot of like mom content, you know, like I think she was pregnant at some point too, just like mom content, and then went into podcasting, and she actually first went into, I'm not sure if it was LA or not, but she drove into a city and hired people. I think it was Rick Glassman was a comedian, her first podcast guest.
Okay.
She paid him like $300 a year, I heard, or something. Yeah, it was on the BFF's podcast with Dave Portnoy.
Oh.
Josh Richards and this one girl, I can't remember her name. But they do this podcast really popular about pop culture, and they had her on just recently, and they're talking. She was like explaining it all, and it really shows how much of like a character she puts on in the podcast, like how she's like, I don't know, deadpan, you want to say?
She's very like awkward, very like standoffish, like it's really hard to be comfortable. Like yeah, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, if this is your first time hearing about her, definitely type that in. Tell them what they can type in, because I know her last name.
Just put Bobby Drake.
Yeah, Bobby Drake. Yeah, because that is her most viral interview to date so far, and it's very awkward, very off-putting. You can kind of see why it went viral, but nobody's used this formula before to like actually like intentionally make a weird interview. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
a lot of people try to like make
kind
the
of
best
original
interview.
character.
You know, nobody's ever tried that before, so I think that's kind of what is like captivating people's interest, and people are like, what is this? And then also the other aspect to it is like what we were talking about. She like is not some long-standing, you know, podcaster that's been in the hip-hop media space forever. She just came out, and she's now getting a Drake interview, which is insanely hard to secure, impossible near.
I'm pretty sure also, if I remember right, it was something like managers or assistants knew each other, and then and then she DM'd him, and I don't remember exactly the story, but I'm pretty sure she DM'd him and kind of just kept asking him, and eventually she became a little popular and he went on it. I believe that's kind of how it happened. It was kind of like him just being like,
Could you imagine their messages though, how awkward it is? Like she's the one that's just like, okay. Like you send like a paragraph, she's like, okay, and you're just like
It's also funny, I showed you a clip earlier about how she tried to get like multiple plane rides from Drake. And there's another
clip. And he agreed to it.
I mean, at least the one. But there's another clip with, who was it? It was Mark Cuban, and she asked to use his private plane. She was like, can I use it to fly back home or something like that? And he was like, no.
I actually haven't seen that clip, but I can only imagine how awkward that is. Like,
and they're sitting on the floor. They're sitting on the floor for that whole podcast.
Where are they at?
His house. I think
in his house?
Each one. At least I know Drake I'm pretty positive Drake and Mark Cuban were both at their own places, but Drake was in his bed.
Well, yeah, no, well, I definitely understand what you're saying about that. So yeah, she is viral. I guess she hasn't made it to the famous stage yet, but
Well, yeah, she was gone. Nobody talked about her.
well, I mean, just talking about Bobby. I mean, like, yeah.
Oh,
if
Bobby,
you,
I was talking about Lil Ted.
Well, if you break it down, so she has went ultra viral, right? And she's probably made a ton of money. She's gotten these monumental people to come on her podcast. And here's the thing, she's not even a good podcaster or interviewer. And on top of that, she doesn't pay to even have a studio and have like all her own stuff. Like she just goes and just does it. These people, she has got the
Well, I think
most
she has
out
the
of like
mics.
the littlest effort. Do you know what I'm saying? It's insane.
Yeah, but I also think it's, well, since I don't know completely the full story, it's very strategic.
Well, I saw people calling her industry fan.
Well, yeah, of course, but
Because nobody knows, like, what, you know.
yeah, but since nobody knows, I care not to really like think like that.
What do you think the possibility could be, right? I mean, if
I
she
mean,
actually is an industry
A lot
plant.
of people. I mean, a lot of people think like Britney Spears could be like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, like the theories come about all the time about.
Well, see,
different
but this
artists,
seems more probable than a lot of other theories, such
Well,
as
yeah.
the
Well,
one about
I'm
Britney
not really
Spears.
like I was just bringing up an artist that's been controversy.
Yeah, well, there was others. I mean, do you remember that one dude, Jumex or whatever?
Oh,
He
yeah.
was like, yeah, he was allegedly an industry plant, which I guess all the evidence that I've seen has pointed to that. So industry plants are real. I've seen videos that people have made saying, oh, industry plants aren't real, you know, whatever. No, they are 100% real, and they are 100%
Yeah.
labeled back. These are real things that happen. So this is a possibility, and you can see why she'd be an industry plant,
The
because
only reason I don't think it is though is like
Well-
no industry plant would be able to get Drake. I don't think they would.
but with a label back.
Yeah, but even though I feel like Drake is big enough to deny it, like he doesn't do any other interviews and he does this one, I feel like he would, like, it's Drake. Like, I don't know, I mean, the industry could be that controlling, but like, what label is going to force Drake to do an interview with
But I
an
think,
industry plant?
I don't think that they're forcing him. I think that they're doing a middleman type thing through Bobby, where it's like, the label's like, you know, let's think of a new business venture. What else could, you know, make us more money, right? So they're like, all right, let's get this, you know, let's make this concept of like, everybody usually when they sit down to do a podcast or interview, they intentionally try their best to make it the best that they can do, right?
Of course.
And they're like, well, what if we just scrap that? And what if we do the complete opposite? What if we put some awkward, shy white girl that has no experience at all, make a bad interview and just make it like super awkward? You know what I'm saying? And it's make it viral.
But it's not about so I think what you're getting hung up on is podcasting is not about always interviewing.
But even as a podcast, she's bad at both. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but it's also about just entertaining, and some people consider that funny. I mean, so many people watched it. It's at least entertaining to a point to be able to watch.
Exactly. I guess just up until this point, nobody's taken
I
that
think you
spin on
like
it before.
consider podcasting like only interviewing. A podcast is just two people talking.
No,
Like,
it
I'm
is,
not
but there's
interviewing you and
no.
you're not-
But there's an art to conversation.
Of course,
You know.
but also you could consider that an art. Like you consider that its own art because in the way it makes content, it is to some people funny. Like the same way you might not think other things are funny, you can also be like, oh, that's also very interesting. Like the way she like puts on that personality or that character can be funny, entertaining. Especially when she does it. I think the whole thing is she acts like she doesn't know some of the biggest artists in the industry.
Oh yeah, she's like acting like
She didn't know any
songs.
Drake songs.
Yeah, right.
I mean, most people might not know every name or any names actually, but a lot of people will be like, "Oh yeah, Drake, this is." Like, she was like, "Oh, what do you do? You're a rapper?" Oh.
I mean, I don't like Drake as an artist at all. I don't listen to him ever, but like,
He is something.
like I could probably name you like maybe like a cool 2 off the top of my head.
I'm
you know?
actually bad with names. I know one off the top of my head. God's Plan, obviously.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, well, it's just interesting, but the other aspect to this is not a, well, maybe for her, it might be sustainable, but like, usually when people make a trend that works and goes viral, other people want to copy it. If you get, you know, 150 copycats that all just do bad, awkward interviews, eventually this is gonna get old. So I think like she got in at the right time with this new, thing, because if a bunch of other people do it, it's not gonna feel the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but also I don't think it's like that. I think her formula is because the only reason she went viral is because she had Drake, and then from Drake she could get others. So it's also kind of part of.
Well, they had to
the
do
momentum.
that, right? They had to do that to compensate, because if she was that same exact person with this same exact character that she portrays, but imagine her with somebody that nobody knows, like some local artist that only like 50 people in the whole world may know, like it's not gonna go viral. It only went viral because people are like, how is Drake sitting down with this girl that doesn't know anything? We've never seen her before. It was just like, it was more shock value, honestly.
Well, yeah, obviously Drake will go. Well, it's also the algorithm with how these like sites are. I mean, everything blows up through clips through TikTok and all the shorts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, of course, when you see Drake and then you see this girl, you're like, why is this happening? Why is this interview going on at all? And then you're intrigued immediately. Exactly. And that's the effect she pulled. And I'd have to look up exactly how she got that interview, but it seems to be more to me that it was kind of like Drake just kind of agreed. I don't think it was industry plans. I really don't think that anybody would make Drake, or Drake would do anything that wasn't something he wanted to do.
Well, could we? But we'll see exactly. And I agree with that statement. That's why it leads me to believe if she was an industry plan, entertain this idea. Say that he didn't get forced. Say that it was more of a trick through a middleman, I guess, for lack of better words, where the label scoops this girl up, puts her under their wing, but very incognito-like, right? To make it look like she's her own brand and her own platform, but really she has all this backing, all this money, all this promo from there. And then now she has a very large budget where she hits Drake's team up, and she's like, yeah, you guys have never heard of me, whatever, blah, 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 but I got $300K if he comes out for an hour, you know what I'm saying? Or I go to him and just have an hour of his time, So I think, there's a possibility she's not. I just think if she is, it maybe went like that.
Yeah, but
is it a possibility though?
But Drake's worth hundreds of millions.
What? Well, see, and so then it's hard to say why he does anything he does.
I could see that with maybe like a rapper like, I don't know, even like Lil Yachty or somebody, like somebody that hasn't been like viral, like other than Poland. Like I could see him doing like that for
how. What was that?
I mean, he has a lot of money, but like
that weird song everybody was singing back in the day that really set him off. I can't remember what it was.
Is it the one with the piano like flying down, or is it the one with him in this like sandbox?
Oh, it was. I don't remember the music video, but I think it was that piano, and he was doing that real sing-song type stuff.
Something with a vegetable. I feel like I remember what that song, wasn't it?
Oh no, you're thinking of that broccoli one. You're thinking of that. I just remembered that song.
Yeah, bro.
Like, hot damn!
Like, yeah. Bro, it was different back then.
Bro, okay, imagine like Lil Yachty dropped like that weird sing-songy but now, like. Is it doing numbers like it did back then? I don't think so. I don't think it's hitting the same.
But there'd also be like the meme factor, so it could definitely probably hit that as well.
Okay, I guess a better question
would be... Same reason
the
Poland that went crazy. Like, it wasn't a good song, but it also kind of like... It was kind of a banger in the way, like, it was just like... Like, it was just... For some reason, it was just like... It was fun to listen to.